Good afternoon, everyone, and lovely to talk to you. And thank you very much, Leaf. Now you've heard about Belize, I'm going to try and cover 3 countries, which will be quite challenging in such a short period of time, but looking forward to telling you a bit more about our neck of the woods. So Wilderness Explorers, we're a destination management company. We've been operating now for 30 years. Starting off, we offered product only in Guyana, but now we operate in Suriname, French Guyana, and some of the English-speaking Caribbean islands. We're very much a specialist in nature and adventure, community and cultural travel experiences. Here's a picture taken in the backyard of our office in Georgetown, a very colourful part of the world. Our team is very experienced. We love designing itineraries and working very closely, in particular with Indigenous communities, offering amazing wildlife, adventure and cultural experiences. We also are very much a global company. We do know some of you on the call and hoping that we can work with some new people in our area. So that's a picture of me with Tony Thorne, who is our managing director. He set up the company 30 years ago, and I've been working with Wilderness for 20 years. And along the way, I got married to Tony as well. We're very much a global team in that we have representation in the German-speaking market as well as in the Spanish-speaking market, and also service all the markets around the world, including UK, Australia and North America. We've always been very committed to working in trade associations such as LATA, the Adventure Travel Trade Association, and of course Atlas, and we were co-founders of Atlas. What do we offer? We offer customized tailor-made trips, small group departures, as well as birdwatching wildlife tours, serious expeditions, and as well as being a DMC, we also offer logistical support for film crews, tourism training, and so on. Who are our clients? We tend to find that people who come to Guyana are generally very well-traveled people, often a little bit older, although we are seeing younger clients coming to Guyana now. Generally interested, as I said before, in nature and wildlife and adventure. We're also finding we have more and more travellers and conservationists wanting to come to Guyana, looking for a sustainable journey with a purpose. And also we are seeing a big increase in demand from high-end luxury clients searching for one-off and unique experiences. We may not be a luxury destination in terms of our accommodation, but we certainly have some very wild and remote experience that we're finding our high-end clients are looking for. This has also been helped by the extra air access we have to Guyana now, including direct flights from British Airways from London to Georgetown twice a week, and increasing air access from North America, including United and American Airlines. So where are the Guyanas? I'm sure you know, but sometimes people ask me if they are in Africa, so I thought I'd put up a map and show you where we are. We are very much on the northeast corner of South America, but also we're on the Caribbean, so we're very much at the crossroads of 2 very different regions, very colourful regions. As you can see from the map on the right, Guyana is the biggest of the 3 Guyanas. It used to be British Guyana. Next to us is Suriname, which was Dutch Guyana. And then we have little French Guyana next to us. In a wider context, we're part of the Guyana Shield, which is one of the oldest geological areas on the planet, which makes us very rich and biodiverse. And we have one of the last 4 pristine tropical rainforests left in the world, covering a huge area here. When to visit Guyana, Guyana is just north of the equator. We have a rainy season from May through to July. So generally people don't come during that time unless they have a specific wildlife interest. The rest of the year, the temperature is generally between 24 to 31 degrees. And we operate tours throughout the rest of the year. Giving you some facts on Guyana. It was British Guyana until 1966 and is the only English-speaking country in South America. We only have 750,000 people living in our country, and 90% of those live along the coastal belt. Guyana, though, is going through a massive increase in interest. You may have heard that we have offshore oil production now, which means money is finally coming to the country, and that's why we're getting much more interest in airlines coming to Guyana. It really is changing very quickly, but we're seeing money from the oil coming through to the local communities. The roads and everything are really improving in Guyana. Guyana is a land of 9 tribes of indigenous people, and also has this longest single drop waterfall in the world, which I'll tell you about more later, but that's Kaitoa Falls there. So some unique selling points, as I said, we are English speaking. We have nearly 900 species of birds. So we're just behind Colombia there. We've just been actually at the Global Bird Fair, where there were lots of people interested in our wildlife. Community-led tourism is very much a pillar of what we do. More of that later. But a few facts and figures. Guyana probably has in a year, less tourists than Machu Picchu has in a day. So we generally consider that we have about 4,000 to 5,000 tourists buying package holidays to Guyana. So it's very much off the beaten track. And our largest passenger aircraft in country only has 19 seats, with one north-south road from Georgetown down to Brazil, and that's only sealed for the first 60 miles. So you really are sending your clients off the beaten track. People come to Guyana and entranced by the different peoples that we have here. So apart from our 9 indigenous tribes, we also have the Europeans who came as explorers and settlers. And the story of sugar, coffee, and cotton is the story of the history of Guyana. With them, they brought African slaves, a very dark history. And when these slaves were emancipated, then East Indians, Portuguese, and Chinese came as indentured laborers. So when you arrive in Guyana, you'll see a very fascinating and rich melting pot of different temples and different peoples. During the pandemic, not only our borders closed very early, but we were able to survive by doing quite a lot of location production work. Did a lot of work with National Geographic. You may have heard of the last Tupui, which was a fantastic expedition lasting for a month, going to the highlands of Guyana. So we do operate really hardcore adventure and expeditions into truly remote locations, such as these, which were featured in that program. This is close to the border with Venezuela, and featured Alex Honnold, who you can see here was bivouacking off the side of a very incredible who was his biologist who's discovered many species of frogs and reptiles new to science. So these are some of the more exciting and hardcore adventures that we can do. This was a film trip, but we do mountaineering trips and trekking. But we have launched another expedition, which is a little bit more medium adventure. This is called the Kanuku Mountains Expedition. This is a fixed trip for 12 days, traversing 3 different habitats, mountains, forests, and rivers, and on the way learning traditional expedition skills and bushcrafts, such as fishing, tracking, and foraging, basically camping in the forest overnight. Once your clients have traveled through the mountains, then we go on to the Mapari River, which you can see here. It's very remote, one of our favorite remote locations. And here you'll see one of our key iconic species, the harpy eagle. This is where we have one of the best harpy eagle nests in the country, with a very, very good access point. You can stand 100 meters away on the edge of an outcrop and look into a harpy eagle nest, which for birders and for people who love wildlife is the most extraordinary experience. To stay at this camp, you stay in the hammock camp, which is featured on the left there. And then there are lots of wonderful wildlife activities around here, including the Goliath bird-eating spider on the right, which is one of the world's largest spiders. Another trip that we have just launched is our Guyana Highlands trekking adventure as well. And this is also on the border of Guyana and Venezuela. This is an Aracuna village, the only village of these native peoples in Guyana. You either fly there or fly to another local village called Copenhagen and take a boat to this village. You stay there one night, and then you go out trekking for 4 days across the highland plateaus. So you can see some wonderful scenery here looking across towards Roraima. And then visiting 2 world-class falls that nobody really knows of, or very few people have visited. The first falls is Camarang, and then also Ushi Falls, which you trek and see it first from the top of the falls, and then you come down to the bottom here, and then you can raft downriver to Parima, which is your gateway back to Georgetown. Another tour that we've just launched is our Explore Guyana tour, featuring wildlife conservation and indigenous communities. This is, again, very much part of community-led tourism, which is, so much of what we do. The pictures here are of another village called Surama, which was the first indigenous village to really open its doors to international tourists. But recently, another place that we visit on our conservation tour is a place called Wichabai, and one of the key guides here is Leroy, and you can see him being awarded the Whitley Award from Princess Anne for his work and the work of the Conservation Society in the South Rupununi in protecting red siskins. They also do some fantastic work with giant anteaters and armadillos. So we are promoting more and more grassroots conservation projects. This is a trip I led last year towards the red siskin nests, stopping by to have a savannah breakfast and then going up to the hills to see these incredible little birds. But anteaters also are a key iconic species here, and also in Karanambu, which is another of our favourite lodges. And then the Guyana Tourism Authority is being very active in opening up new villages, showcasing artisanal handicrafts by local people. So we were the first visitors to visit this village and do some weaving there. Indigenous community interaction is very important to us. But also, of course, seeing wildlife and travelling on the rivers, some lovely giant river otters here. And then in the savannas, you can go out seeing Termite City, horse riding, you can go out riding to look for anteaters. So there's lots of different modes of transport in Guyana. Guyana means land of many waters. A lot of our trips are river trips, but we also do riding, we have mountain bikes, trekking, and so on. And then other wildlife experiences. This is at Cayman House. You can go out and watch a black caiman being captured and data being monitored for some serious scientific research on the black caiman. Here we have sports fishing. This is a village called Rewa that we work very often with. That small fish on the right-hand side at the top is an arapaima, the world's largest scaled freshwater fish. And a lot of work is being done at Rewa to help preserve the population of this fish. This is Rewa Lodge to give you a sense of what the accommodation is like throughout Guyana in the communities. It's very simple, but it's not luxury, but the actual privilege of waking up on the river here away from anyone else is a fantastic experience. Closer to home, back in Georgetown, we offer lots of different activities, including going out in the river at night, looking at the birds coming into roost over the city, and very much cultural and culinary experiences, such as going to the market with Chef Delvin Adams, who was featured in Gordon Ramsay's Uncharted programme, along with a singing chef personality that we have, who not only does he take you out to talk about the 7 Curry Tour, which is a banquet Indo-Guyanese for vegetarians and for people at wedding banquets. He also offers another tour called Taste of Freedom, which talks about the history of sugar and slavery and the emancipation of the slaves and the food and music legacy of the Africans in Guyana. He then comes back, cooks with you, and then sings with you, and he's written some great songs. So in the old days in Georgetown, a lot of people didn't want to spend very long in town because they didn't know there were many activities there, but we've created lots of activities so that people coming just for 4 or 5 night tours, maybe from North America, can really get a lot of authentic experiences in the capital. Kaito Falls is 5 times, or nearly 5 times the height of Niagara, and to get there you either trek there or you can fly there. And spend a couple of hours on the ground. There is a guest house lodge there that's been recently renovated, and seeing clients will be able to stay there overnight. Great wildlife around there too. We've got Cock of the Rock and little frogs there. And then going on to the 3 Guyanas. So this is our main tour for the country. We can do tailor-made or scheduled small group departures, 15-day itinerary, and some quick facts on Suriname. Suriname's a Dutch-speaking country and was Dutch until 1975. It too has 8 tribes of indigenous people and is technically the smallest independent country in South America, but with lots of virgin rainforest too. It was exchanged by the English with the Dutch for New York in the 17th century, which is an incredible fact. And the city itself, Paramaribo, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So some beautiful buildings in the city. It's a very lovely place to explore. And a place where, again, very multi-faith, a synagogue next to a mosque which shares a car park during festival days is something I think we all would like to see more of around the world. Wildlife activities here include dolphin watching as well as turtle watching. This is a very significant stretch of coast, the wild coast, with 4 breeds of turtles come and breed here between February and August. But another joy of going to Suriname is to go into the interior of the country by river and visit the Maroons, who are the descendants of the escaped African slaves. This is a real snapshot of Africa, but in the middle of South America. So, visit a village here, visit museums here, and learn a little about the African culture. Moving on to French Guiana. French Guiana is actually not a country, it's an overseas department of France. So the currency here is the euro. Again, 6 different tribes of Amerindian people and covered largely by virgin rainforest. The picture on the left, the top picture, is a picture of carnival. It's the world's longest carnival. It does go on for a month. And below we have a picture of some Hmong people who live in the Cacao village near Cayenne. So the French brought some refugees, Hmong refugees, to French Guiana during the Indo-Chinese War. So you can actually go in on a Sunday, go there and have noodles in a lovely Asian market, but you pay by euros and you're actually in South America. So French Guiana is a very quirky place. The capital is Cayenne, and cayenne pepper is named after Cayenne. But people come to French Guiana largely because they may have heard of one of the greatest adventure stories of them all, which is Papillon, which was written, some of you will know, or your clients will certainly know, it was written about 50 years ago. 2 major films were made of the film, of the book. And you can visit Devil's Island, you take a catamaran and go out for the day, or you can even overnight in a small hotel on one of the islands. There's a museum that covers the story of slavery there, and you can also see the cells where the prisoners were taken to. It's very atmospheric. Of course, it's dark history, but important history, but the jungle is taking over the island here. Complete contrast is we have the Guyana Space Center, which is the European Space Agency where many satellites are launched. So there's a wonderful museum and a tour that you can do, a complete contrast to everything else that we offer in 3 Guyanas. We have other themed tours, and one of them that I'm really proud of is our Women Only tour, which we launched to cover International Women's Day for groups of like-minded women travelers. Carla is the lady on the left. She is actually our manager in our office in Georgetown, and she is our group escort on that. We try and meet famous female conservationists and pioneers in Guyana as we travel on this itinerary. So there's a trend that we're seeing at the moment, women-only tours. And then finally, I'd like to say that we have now set up our kayak foundation, which is a foundation working together to develop sustainable tourism. We're working very closely with Indigenous communities. At the bottom is a picture of me and with Sydney Allacock, who is a real pioneer. He comes from Surama and he became a former vice president of Guyana and Amerindian affairs. And he has really inspired people throughout the country to look at tourism as a way of protecting their heritage and protecting their environments. So we're very proud that just recently at the Lata Expo, we won a gold award for our work with our Indigenous communities. Thank you very much for listening. I know I've covered a lot of ground, 3 countries there. If you have any questions, please ask me now, or please contact us and I'll be happy to tell you more. Thank you.